South Holland. Welcome to Lunch with the Librarian. I'm actually making lunch today. This is going to be a lunch that feeds a bunch of people or one person for a bunch of days. And I figure as the weather is getting better, like the warmer it gets, the less likely I am to want to eat things that are baked in the oven. I'm way more like a grill kind of girl, or just like skillet stuff. Or salads. I love a salad. So while it's still a little bit cool out or like rainy and junky, I'm gonna get one last casserole kind of under the wire. And we're doing a lazy person's sort of ersatz lasagna today. And I'm gonna try out a technique as we get started. I'm gonna try something out first and see kind of how it goes. I've seen a couple of different places online and on like no less alike than America's Test Kitchen, that there's a secret to getting your ground beef when you cook it in the skillet really kind of brown and crispy and yummy. So I'm gonna try that out today. Let me put my mask on, and my hair is back as it gets. Now I got a haircut, and so it's kind of like too short to fit in a ponytail. According to America's Test Kitchen, this is just a pound of ground beef, 85% ground beef, which is what I normally try to get. If you like your ground beef leaner, awesome. If you don't eat red meat and you want to use turkey, that is fantastic as well. I'm dumping the ground beef in the bowl. And then I am sprinkling over top. This is the secret, apparently, according to the America's Test Kitchen. And they've never done wrong by me. We have America's Test Kitchen books here at South Holland Library if you are, if you want to check those out. What's cool about America's Test Kitchen, the reason that my husband actually really likes them, I can't get this box open, is that they explain the science of why their recipes work the way they do. So if you're sciencey, that's kind of a cool thing. So the secret ingredient for making your ground beef or your ground meat like as brown and crispy as it can be is baking soda. Just regular old baking soda. A 1/4 teaspoon per pound. So I'm using my 1/4 teaspoon. I'm sprinkling it over the ground beef that's in my bowl, and I'm gonna smush those together and then just let it sit for 15 minutes and then come back and cook with it. Apparently it doesn't affect the flavor of the ground beef at all. You won't even notice. It's such a small amount. And baking soda, not baking powder. The purpose of baking powder is lift. I can't explain the science. America's Test Kitchen can explain the science of why to add baking soda to ground beef. Your girl was not a science teacher or a science major. Lord knows. They tried to get me to stop taking science as quickly as I could in high school. If you know me, you know that's true. And so I just used my hands to kind of mix the baking soda and the ground beef together in my bowl. There's what it looks like. Just a lump of ground beef. I'm going to wash my hands, set a timer for 15 minutes, and I'll see you back to cook or to put this recipe together. All right, so 15 minutes went by. I heated up my skillet. This is a non-stick skillet, so I didn't add any oil or anything to the pan before I started cooking my ground beef. It's pretty brown, I gotta say. I am a cautious convert to baking soda and ground beef. But as you can see, it's almost all the way cooked. So what I'm gonna do now is turn down my burner to medium-low. I poured off a 1/4 cup or 3/4 of a cup of spaghetti sauce, just a regular jar of spaghetti sauce. I used marinara. That's what I like. The rest of the jar goes into the skillet. It gets mixed up together. If your ground beef is not all the way cooked when you pour in the sauce, it's not that big of a deal. It should be probably 3/4 cooked when you throw in the sauce, but it shouldn't still be mostly raw. The reason is because I am mixing the beef and the spaghetti sauce together. I'm gonna cover it and then let it simmer on medium-low for 10 minutes to get those flavors to kind of come together. They call it marrying in culinary arts class. And get in those 10 minutes that the beef and the sauce are simmering together, the beef will finish cooking all the way. So if it's 75% cooked, 80% cooked, you'll be fine. So let me pop the lid. The lid doesn't quite fit, but that's okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I've got a round metal tray, and I'm gonna use that as my cover. We are resourceful people here at South Holland Public. I'll be back in 10 minutes once this skillet is done simmering. What I'm gonna do right now is, while the beef is simmering, I'm gonna turn on my oven to 350 and preheat it. Because once this is cooked, prep of this goes really, really fast. And it'll take as long as it takes to preheat the oven to get that going. So I'll see you back in 10 minutes. All right, South Holland, it's been 10 minutes. My ground beef spaghetti sauce mixture is done simmering. So now, what we're gonna do is assemble this kind of fake lasagna. So I've got a 13x9 pan. I've sprayed it with nonstick spray. I am going to grab a little 1/4 cup scoop, if I can find one. That's third. And why am I a mess? Yeah, that's okay. I'll just use a little bit less than a third, because that's 1/4 is a little bit less than a third. So I'm gonna grab my scoop and my reserved regular plain spaghetti sauce, and I'm gonna dump about a 1/4 cup of it in the bottom of the pan and spread it around like this. Another thing that this does is, yes, it flavors the dish, but also it keeps your casserole from sticking. So not a huge deal. All right. Lasagna, pasta, gooey cheese, yumminess, meat sauce. This is fake lasagna. We're using ravioli. These are just frozen raviolis. They come in a bag like this. I got cheese. If you like spinach, you could do that. Whatever filling you want. I probably wouldn't use a meat filling, honestly, because you already got a bunch of meat in the sauce, and that would just feel like overkill to me. To my husband, probably not. So I'm going to arrange these raviolis, and I haven't thawed them. Keep in mind, they're still frozen out of the bag. I'm just going to arrange them in a layer across the bottom of the pan. There's some ice, like little like chunks of ice on some of them. I'm knocking that stuff off as I see it and just putting them in the pan like so. Like, for example, like this one has a bunch of ice on it because they've just been sitting in the freezer for a couple of days. So there we go. Half of our ground beef mixture is going to go on top of this layer of ravioli. I'm just using my spatula to kind of divide the pan in half like that, because I know who I am. I am moving the pan up close so that when I inevitably spill, I'll spill from the skillet into my casserole dish and not all over the counter and be wasteful, because wastefulness is no bueno. We want all of this deliciousness in our mouths and not on our countertops. Alright. Because this sauce is so chunky with meat, like you can see that it's not like super like coating or whatever. That's fine. It's all gonna be fine. So, next thing I have is 1 bag of shredded mozzarella cheese. That's what the recipe called for, so that's what I'm using. I'm gonna use 1/3 of this. And I'm just using my eyeballs. I'm not super measuring it out. I'm just kind of using my eyes. All right. Done. Now, I put another layer of ravioli on top. There you go. That's what that looks like. That's what that looks like. Another layer of ravioli right on top of the other layer of ravioli. And sauce. Get that big old chunk of ice out of there. Yeah. Like so. And then basically you put the other half of the sauce on top of there. And repeat. Use my spatula to kind of spread this guy out a little bit. And then you repeat this process with the last of the mostaccioli, or the last of the raviolis rather. And cheese, and you are done. And then, ooh, I'm sorry, and the last of the sauce. The sauce that's reserved. This goes on the top. All right. So let me do that real quick, and I'll get back to you in a second. So here's my finished, well, it's not finished, my almost finished casserole. This guy goes now into our 350-degree oven for a half hour. What you're looking for is for the cheese to be completely melted and bubbling and maybe starting to brown a little bit around the edges. Check it at a half hour. If it needs a little bit more time, that's cool. Up to, say, 40 minutes, depending on how hot your oven runs. So I will see you back in a half hour for the finished product. All right, so it's been a little over a half hour. I just wasn't fast getting back down here from the circulation desk to pull it out of the oven. Here's what the finished product looks like. If you're smart, you'll let this sit for, say, 15 minutes on the low end, probably up to a half hour, so that the cheese and the sauce are not absolutely lava hot when you bite in. I'm not that smart, and so I'm gonna dig in right now. I'm not gonna have much because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I don't want to spoil my dinner. But, so I'm going to just use a spoon and scoop out a little bit to try. And there is probably the easiest version of the lasagna casserole that you're ever gonna make using large cheese ravioli. Let me know how it goes. You can switch this up a lot of ways. You can use turkey instead of ground beef. You can use whatever pasta sauce you like, if you like mushrooms or onions, or like a chunky veggie sauce or whatever you're about. I suppose you could even get real razzle-dazzly and use like Alfredo, or vodka sauce, whatever looks, or like homemade sauce if you're extra fancy. You could use raviolis of whatever filling you decide that you like, whatever looks good at the grocery store that day, whatever's on sale. So if you try it out, let me know how it goes. As always, I will link the recipe to the post on Facebook, and all of the Lunch with a Librarian videos are archived on the South Holland Library Youth Services YouTube page. So if you want to watch this again and again and again, that is where to do it. I'm gonna go eat. Have an awesome day, South Holland. I'll see you soon. Come visit us.